The room froze the second she slid the box across the table, wrapped in pale pink paper, tied with a ribbon that mocked me. I peeled it open with steady hands, though inside I was already bracing. A polished silver dog bowl, engraved, "For when you finally earn your place." Her laugh came sharp, slicing through the air. "Since you can't give us a baby," she said, her wine glass catching the light, "this suits you better." I smiled, a practiced smile, the kind you use at funerals. I lifted my glass. "Funny, Linda," I said softly, so the room leaned in to hear. "I brought something too, something that might change how you see your precious son forever." Silence fell, the kind that breathes. They thought I'd shatter. They didn't know me. I remember the first time I met him. His hand was warm when he shook mine, his eyes too honest for someone raised in Linda's shadow. I believed in him, believed in us. For years I carried the weight of every doctor's visit, every test, every quiet night where I pretended not to see disappointment flicker across his face. And through it all, Linda circled me like a vulture. "Maybe he deserves someone who can give him a family," she'd whisper, always within earshot. I thought I was strong. I thought he was mine, until the signs appeared. Late nights explained by work. Receipts for dinners he never mentioned. A sweater in his car, perfume clinging to the sleeves. At first, I doubted myself. That's what betrayal does. It makes you think the wound is your fault. But then came the text. A notification lighting up his phone as he showered. "I'm late. Should I tell him it's his?" I read it 3 times before the meaning sank in. And that was the night I stopped being his wife. That was the night I became something else entirely. I didn't scream, I didn't confront him. I smiled, kissed his cheek, and tucked the truth into my chest like a blade. I started small, quiet things. I copied documents, passwords, bank statements. I learned how deep the debt went, how much of my inheritance he'd siphoned to cover his business trips. And then I hired a lawyer. Not the kind you find online, the kind who knows how to turn betrayal into art. Step by step, I moved the pieces. My name off joint accounts, his name onto debts he thought were ours. A quiet meeting with his boss, where I slipped a folder across the desk containing evidence of embezzlement he hadn't even realized I'd traced. The trap was almost ready. So when Linda invited everyone to my baby shower, a cruel joke since she knew the truth, I didn't decline. I dressed in pale blue silk. I painted my lips the color of blood. And I brought my gift. Back in the room, her laughter still lingered, but eyes had shifted. They were on me now. I raised my glass higher. "You wanted a baby, Linda. You wanted a legacy. Maybe you should ask your son about the one he's already made." His face drained. I watched the denial form on his lips, then choke when I pulled the folder from my bag. Photos, bank transfers, the text, each page heavier than the last. A murmur rippled through the room. Friends, family, his colleagues, all watching him unravel. "Your grandchild exists," I said, "just not from me, and not for you." Linda's hand shook as she set her glass down. He tried to speak, but every word cracked under the weight of evidence. I leaned closer, my voice soft but sharp. "You wanted to humiliate me, but I don't break, Linda. I rebuild, and I make sure the ones who tried to bury me learn to choke on the dirt." He lost everything that night. His job called before midnight. The bank accounts were already frozen, debts transferred solely in his name. The other woman, pregnant, abandoned when she realized the house of cards he lived in was collapsing, filed her own claim. By morning, he was nothing but a man stripped bare. And Linda? She never looked me in the eye again. I sit here now, the silence of my home no longer heavy, but clean. No cries of an infant, no laughter of a partner, but no lies either. People think revenge is fire. It isn't. It's ice. It's patience, calculation, precision. And when the moment comes, when the blade slips between the ribs of betrayal, it isn't rage you feel, it's release. So yes, Linda, thank you for the dog bowl. I keep it under the sink, a reminder of the night I stopped being the woman you mocked and became the one you'll never forget.